Good evening, and day 3 comes to an end. 8 shows gone through, starting this morning at the Multi-Story, right through to the Licorice Lounge tonight, where a show that was due to be at the Dragonfly had to be shifted within 24 hours notice, and it was the opening night of the show tonight, so that must have been particularly stressful. However, the show must and did go on. It's been an interesting day indeed. As I started this morning wondering about how the Fringe would look, it's been a day where I think increasingly as I've gone round places, I've realised just exactly what it is that I'm hoping for once we come to the end of this particular time in Edinburgh Festival Fringe 2021. So this morning included wandering about quite a few places. I ended up going to the Space for 3 of those 8, which is a particular group that I really like because it does a fantastic job. They've got their 4th season online since the pandemic. They have been supporting artists, and particularly younger artists, right throughout all of this. They've got an offer in person, and they've still got an offer online with people badgering us in order to give reviews, which I'm more than delighted to give because the Space are putting the effort in, and therefore so should we. Absolutely. I've also got the C Venues now managed to get onto their online player, so I'll be looking at a couple of theirs too. Summer Hall is somewhere that I've not managed to get to yet, but I've got a day to go and I want to make that a priority. Dance Space, I didn't manage to get to see the show that I wanted to see, and it's coming to an end, so I won't be able to catch it next week. But enterprisingly enough, the media ticket people come in and say, well, this one's gone, but we've got this one instead. Do you fancy coming to see that? And those are the things that I really don't mind, because it shows that behind these efforts being put in by artists, that you have people who understand that what they require is support in areas that they are not able to give themselves. So I'll probably go and see what I've been asked to go and see, because they asked so nicely. And not only did they ask so nicely, they took advantage of the situation on behalf of the artists. So from today's lot, I came away from the last one not really happy. I hadn't seen a properly well directed show. Have I seen one? To an extent, yeah, I have. But what I've also seen is a show with a couple of actors who've got the ability to hold a pause, create the opportunity for understanding without having to rush things. I saw young companies who are trying to be traditional when what they need to be is different. Is to endorse and embrace the fact that they are a young company trying to find some way to do something. And that, I think, is something that we should never lose. We've got to encourage young companies to be bold and be different and not end up doing the things that would be expected of them. And that, I suppose, is the spirit of the Fringe. Much though I rail against some of it, and I feel that as a cultural supermarket everybody thinks we've got Waitrose or Sainsbury's, when in actual fact sometimes it just feels like a local branch of a Lidl. But I think that if we want to come out of this and come out with something that makes a little bit of a difference to the arts as well as humanity and the communities that it serves, that I think that we've got to start looking at encouraging young companies to be as bold as they can be, to give us something that makes a difference. And the Fringe should be about challenge, difference, change, opportunity, all of these buzzwords that people will use in documents in order to suggest something. And I think that rather than the Fringe having lost that, I think I probably got a bit jaded too. That I came across here on a regular basis and I walked away and I thought, I haven't seen the one that's blown me away yet. And maybe the Fringe shouldn't be about things that blow you away, but they should be about things which make you think, consider. Have I seen that today? I've seen the beginnings of it. I've seen it make me think. And it's just that thing as well about media people jumping on the back of things and taking the opportunity to suggest, promote, give you options, when right now we don't have the thousands of performances from which to choose that we had 2 years ago. That I think that there is a job, a responsibility, not just upon me but upon all of us, to support the arts in a way in which it will provide us with the best Netflix series, the best BBC radio serial drama, the best opportunity for those who are coming out of colleges, universities and drama schools in order to be employed doing something that has taken us through this pandemic in a way that nothing else has. The box set, the online offer from Amazon Prime, from Netflix, from Sky. And how much money are they putting into the grassroots arts? I think we can all count to nothing quite easily. So it's up to us. And as a reviewer, I think it's up to me to remind myself consistently that my job isn't, as Lynn Gardner tells us, to just be the foghorn for the arts, to be the promoter of the arts, to be the uncritical friend, but to be the critical person who might well point at things when other people think it's genius and say, that king's got no clothes on. Or alternatively, when people are castigating it and giving it a really hard time, point out that actually there's something at the centre of this, something at the source of this. There's an idea, a kernel, a possibility that we should not extinguish. So, renewal is a word you will hear a lot, particularly about the fringe, I think. So if 2021 has done anything for me, it's given me the opportunity to renew my conversation with the arts, my conversion back to being in a theatre, to understanding the spiritual experience, but also to understand that it means something more than a group of people in a darkened room. So recommendations for today, probably the event at Assembly Roxy. Loved it. Return of Sherlock Holmes, standard, absolutely no tricks, no trixies, but really, really good. And as for the rest, there's plenty to feel positive about, and that's what I'm taking away from today. I've got one more day to go now. Traditionally what I do at the end of it is I go and get myself a kebab. That's my reward. I'm walking towards the train station just now in order to get the train back because I'm finished as early as this. It's not late, but it's not long past 9 o'clock because the last show finished about 9 or thereabouts. I don't have a car in order to take a smelly kebab on, but there's a German kebab shop which might make me change the shop that I go to in order to get a kebab. We'll see. But as a reward for whatever it is that I've done, it was the thing that I started this all off with. And as I reflect, I started coming to the fridge in 2005. I didn't buy tickets in order to do anything other than run round and see as much as I could. When I became a reviewer a few years later, that is still and was my focus, to see as much as I can and give every single one of them the same consideration, first, middle and last. And as a manifesto, that's not too bad. I wonder what the manifesto for the arts is going to be that takes us out of this particular doldrum and promotes us back to where we were before. I've got a funny feeling if we're waiting for the government to do it, of whichever hue and cry, we might be waiting a very long time. But in the meantime, plenty to celebrate, muse upon, talk about, debate, argue over. But there again, that's the arts for you. Till next week, bye for now.